wanted to talk to you guys about a common myth that we deal with here, and that is the misconception that if you correct or punish your dog, you will make your dog more aggressive. Like a lot of myths, there's a small kernel of truth. Let's talk a little bit about why this myth exists. It's unintentionally passed around by a lot of people that just don't know any better. There's also intentionally perpetrating this myth, and I've seen this on websites and actually come out of the mouth of people that claim to be professionals. First off, if you take 100 dogs, maybe this would be true to some small degree for about 5 out of that 100. Let's talk about that 5%, give or take a percentage point, are going to be the dogs that if you correct them, they may respond with some form of aggression. Let's talk about why this would happen. The devil is in the details, guys. Fundamentally, I've divided it into 2 types of aggression that you'll see in relation to a correction from the 5%. The most common type of aggression that you'll see in relation to being corrected or even just restrained is redirection. That is generally when you have a dog that is extremely excited, extremely frustrated, and extremely intense about something, and usually it's another dog, and the dog is either being held back or the handler attempts to correct the dog from going after the thing that he wants to go after, and the dog redirects all that energy, all that intensity, all that aggression onto the handler. Now the second type, thankfully more rare, is actual social aggression. Social aggression is when the dog makes an intentional decision to counteract what you did. You did something that he perceived as undesirable, so he's going to counter that undesirable thing that you did with his own undesirable thing back to you. So you punished him or corrected him, however you want to put it, and he says, you know what, you're not doing that to me, and here's what you get, and he turns around and either snarls at you or he bites you. Social aggression and redirection. So let's talk about the redirecting dog. The way that you deal with this is the way that you deal with anything else. Set yourself up for success. Remember the fundamental behavioral principles that underlie everything. If I want to create a behavior, I reward it or reinforce it. If I want to remove a behavior, I punish it. So that's, in a nutshell, how I'll deal with the redirecting dog. I'll use my tools. I'll make sure that I'm safe. I'll bring his energy level down. I'll make him more obedient. I'll set him up for the bad stuff, and I'll correct him if he chooses to engage in the unhealthy behavior. That's the redirecting dog. Now let's talk about why the socially aggressive dog does what he does. He does what he does because you're trying to control him, and in response, he's trying to control you. Because for him, it's extremely desirable to engage in the behavior that you're trying to prevent him from engaging in. Again, I'm going to set myself up for success. I'm making sure this dog, without a shadow of a doubt, understands exactly what I expect from him. Then after that, I'm going to set him up. So, what are our fundamental principles of behavioral science? Reinforcement creates behavior. Punishment creates extinction or makes at least the behavior less likely. And thankfully, like what I said, it's not a common thing. So these dogs that do become aggressive, do they justify this whole misconception that, hey, I can't punish my dog because I don't want him to become more aggressive? Well, your other option is to let him continue to engage in the behavior that you don't like. Is that something that you find acceptable? Well, if not, then you are going to have to introduce your dog to the concept of obligation. And obligation is, hey, you actually have to do this. I mean, we expect it from our children, I hope. Obligation is an essential part of any dog training system.